Hello, and welcome to this episode of Demystified, as we explore home cooking in a modern world. And now I'm here with my friend Paul. Hello, Paol.
We're in an echoey office today.
We are. It is a bit. We're trying a new room. I've got a squeaky chair, and it's a new room, and we echo.
Yeah.
Well, at least we have
Enjoy
power.
the quality sound experience from
At
your
least
friends
we have-
at Demystified.
At least we have power, unlike last Wednesday.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Whose fault
how
is
are
that?
you? I know. I'm not the technical genius around here. We all know that. How are you?
I'm alright. You?
Yeah, very good. You've been getting your cook on this week a lot.
Yes.
I love it when you're cooking.
Not as much as, not for what I want to do all the time, but nonetheless, we've got stuff, cooking stuff, lots of cooking stuff. So, yeah, been doing a lot of different things. I don't know, you've been watching, so what have I been doing that's interesting to you?
I love, it's interesting because we now work so close, and my
I'm not
office
allowed
is...
to hide away.
No, my office is about 10 steps to the cooking with steam kitchen, and it's interesting having this unusual aroma coming through, thinking, oh, what are you making now? What are you cooking? Like, what part is it? And I must say, even the stock you make has been, like, everyone's been coming in and saying, what's Paul cooking? Is that for us? Go and ask him. Oh, you go ask him. And then I find out it's stock, and I go, no, it's just stock.
But
it has been
see,
really
it's
nice.
not just stock.
No, it's not just stock. I know.
See, that's a.
But it is just stock because we can't put it on something, have it in a roll,
No.
pour it over
But,
some rice.
yeah,
So it's just stock.
It's not just stock though.
No, but we know that.
We shouldn't treat stock like just stock.
No. No. But it has been nice, and this week you've been very busy, so it's been quite enticing,
Lots of
sitting here, distracting.
Lots of different things. Lots and lots. Gougere.
Yes, it does look like a nice little cheese puff.
Yeah. It's on the website. I think we've put that up already.
We have?
Yeah, but doing, I've done a few variations of a few leche flans and playing around with my vacuum drawer. You got to experience that a bit.
That was amazing. Being able to make white chocolate aero.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
So
You are a genius with all that stuff.
That's an interesting experiment. Not one that is sort of home safe yet.
No.
We'll,
No, we certainly couldn't have it done safely at home.
not yet.
Not yet.
Not until you perfect it, but I've blown up a few containers, but that's all fun and games. But yes, no, and I think we can now announce, can we not?
The book is up. It's just being private. It's just being tested by our publisher to make sure that the process works. And Demystified is now available on Amazon, through Barnes and Noble, or it will be in a couple of days once we've...
Why isn't it?
I think the publisher wants to just make sure that the process of ordering it and having it delivered works.
Oh, but we got one delivered.
We did, but they like to get one as well for their own internal records. So that is, we did Demystified. It looks a little bit different to the hard printed one, but we love it, and it's now available, as I said, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, in all big book retailers around the world, except Australia. For Aussie listeners, you still have to come to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the cost of doing it's too high in Australia. Isn't that amazing? The cost in doing it in Australia is too high.
Yeah.
Whereas the rest of the world becomes a bit more affordable, especially with local postage.
Yeah. So Amazon's got the sort of holding card up on their website. So yes, it's not. It's
okay. Well, it's
not that
it's
far
only
away.
it's only it's not far.
Yeah, but we've been saying that for a while.
Yeah,
but
I
it's
know,
actually like we did receive one in the post.
And we were very excited to see it.
Yeah,
it was good.
It was good actually.
It's really good. So that's all happened. So Demystified's now out, and now we can finalise book 2 at some stage later.
All the recipes are done. All the photos are pretty much done.
Okay,
I think
that's exciting.
Volume 2. We would value any suggestions for a title name.
We've got,
and we'll give you credit in the book somewhere. I don't know where, but
still demystifying, or Demystified 2.
Yeah, we could do the iPhone 2.0.
Oh.
Demystified 2.0.
Yeah.
But I think that's made a bit done. But we need something. Well, because everyone that you mentioned to about the title of the book says, "Oh, that's clever."
Yeah,
we can't
the first
come out
time,
like you can't just be good on your first episode
and then rest on your laurels.
Yeah,
damn right you can.
No, you can't. Like we don't want to be that second movie that isn't as good.
Yeah, it's just the follow-up's never as good. Yeah,
and I actually think that
except
the recipe content is like probably a little bit broader. I would suggest. I think there's only maybe 2 or 3 recipes less than in the current version or in Demystified, but I think the variety is a little bit broader, which I think is good. And I think we've got some more technical stuff in there, so that's good. But that said,
well, it also
we have everything but a title.
Yeah, but it reflects the maturity as well.
Oh, does it?
Whose
maturity are we talking about?
Well, if you knew these guys, listeners, but no, you've really learned a lot over that. Between book 1, which was a lot of those recipes were you nailing the process, converting what you knew into combi, steam oven, home cooking rather than commercial kitchen cooking. And by then you'd found your sort of rhythm and you were flying. So I think book 2 will reflect the broader recipes because you've got a different process,
better understanding of how it all works.
Yeah, and the inspiration of not just trying to teach basics, but being able to show what it can really do. So it will be good. It will be good looking at that. And
we need Doug to come up with a title, I think.
No, I think after proofreading the last one to get it into Demystified up on print on demand.
Doug doesn't want to have anything to do with
this. I think Doug, he's over looking at recipes, but we'll see if I can convince him.
Just the title.
Just the title. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll have to put our thinking caps on about that. And home cooking. Have you been doing any home cooking?
Very little because I've been out.
Cooking for everybody else.
Yeah. So, what have I done recently? What have I done recently? I did some ossobuco because it's getting cold here now. So I did some ossobuco. What else did I do? Oh, I did something that was really good the other night. Must have been so good that I can't remember it. Can't remember. But I like when you get a change of season.
Yeah.
So the fruits and vegetables change. I like that because although the seasons themselves are changing. It's still pretty warm for an autumn in Melbourne at the moment.
Until tomorrow.
It's tomorrow the
13.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah,
13,
it's
whatever.
More normal, but.
But I think, when the cooler months start coming, the difference in product that's around, and I look differently at what I want to buy because I want that warming, comforting sort of, so the secondary cuts come out a bit more. The barbecue gets covered up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That said, I still bust out the barbecue every now and again, but certainly not as often. Those warming sorts of things. But I was actually took a wander around the market this morning to see what was around and what looked good. What I can say at the moment is very good is oysters. Oh, they are so good at the moment. Always better to eat oysters in the cooler months.
Is it?
Well, because in spring they spawn.
Oh, okay.
And that's when they get, for want of a better term, it's sort of that creamy texture about them, which isn't particularly appealing. Everyone wants to sit there and eat cold oysters on a hot summer day with a nice glass of bubbles.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
But they are at their best in the cooler months.
Okay.
By a country mile, they're really good at the moment.
Okay.
Both Tassie, for our Australian people listening, but Tasmanian and South Australian oysters, particularly at the moment, they are really good.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I don't know how long the window is, but they are really good at the moment. And if you want to keep your oysters for a longer period of time, so you can quite happily buy oysters on a Wednesday and not eat them till a Sunday if they're closed. Okay, so not opened oysters, because once they're open, they're dead. But closed oysters, and you just put them in your fridge and put like a towel over the top and some heavy weight on top of it, and it kind of mimics the pressure underneath the water, and so they'll stay closed and they'll stay happy for at least 3 or 4 days.
Oh wow, I'm going to do that. That's a good tip.
Yeah, so I mean, it's also good if you've got a vacuum sealer because it does a similar thing. Pressurizes.
Oh, okay.
It's like they're under pressure, like the pressure under the water. So yeah, if you put some weight on them, just a damp tea towel, they'll keep for easily 3 or 4 days, no problem.
Okay.
And ask your fishmonger if they do them closed, because the other thing that fishmongers do is when they open oysters, I know it's convenient, but when they open oysters, to get a little bit of because sometimes you'll get some grit and shell in the oyster itself just from the process of opening the oyster, what they tend to do is rinse them, which is the worst thing you could do to an oyster. Rinse a saltwater oyster in fresh water, you ruin the flavour totally. Like instantaneously ruin the flavour. So if you are willing to give it a go, and it's not super hard, maybe that's something we can do, actually show people how to open oysters.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of different techniques you can use. Depends where you've worked will be the technique that you use, but because the French are very particular about on what side of the shell and what part of the shell you open the oyster.
Okay.
Because if you open it from sort of the back where the hinge is, if you like, 9 times out of 10 you end up being able to open the shell. That's not a problem, but your oyster knife goes too far in and you end up stabbing the oyster, which also taints the flavour of it. So there's a couple of different techniques, but if you do get your own oysters, don't rinse them in water. Just like brush out those little bits of shell if you've got any in there, but don't rinse them in cold water. Cold fresh water, it just ruins them totally, which is why I never ever buy open oysters, ever. If I've got a choice between having oysters and not having oysters, I will not have them if they've been opened.
Okay. I didn't know that.
That's
there
my oyster rant.
Wow, I've never heard you talk about oysters before.
I love them.
Okay.
That's death meal for me.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, like
that's the final meal.
Final meal is at least 2 dozen oysters on ice, so they've got to be really cold. Mm-hmm. Followed by steak tartare.
Okay. I do know you like that. But
yeah.
Didn't know about oysters.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I could sit and...
And to drink?
Chateau Yquem, which is a slightly sweet wine, which would probably go with my main course a little bit better. With my oysters, I'd probably bust out a Dom. Well, I mean, if it's like,
Okay. Well,
and then for my main course, I'd probably go something like Tortoros Rossini, which is like really good beef fillet with foie gras and truffle.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
Well, why not? It's your final meal.
Yeah.
You can go all that,
with
you're not paying.
Like, with a Rothschild or something like that, about 25 grand a bottle, something like that.
I think I've got 2 of those in my wine fridge.
Oh, yeah. I don't think you do. Because if I'd have known they were there, they wouldn't be there anymore.
No.
But, that's... Oysters are
okay.
And good steamed too. You make a nice simple, really goes well with like an Asian-y type dressing, so some spring onions, a little bit of mirin, soy. You don't want anything too salty because they're already a little bit salty. And if you are going to steam them, put them on a flat tray and just put a bed of rock salt down and it'll stop the oysters tipping over. Just holds them in place. So yeah, there you go. Oysters.
And what temperature steam?
You can do it at 100 degrees because you're not doing it for very long.
Okay.
That's the idea.
The time and temperature?
Low temperatures aren't really going to benefit you there. So you're probably steaming them at 100 for maybe 4 minutes. 4 to 5 minutes. You can make a nice simple little sort of... I like that. Those Asian-y type dressings. And of course you can do your sort of classics if you really want to. I'm not a big fan of cooked oysters. Like lightly steamed like that will come out, but those old school ones like Kilpatrick and
with all the bacon and Worcestershire sauce to...
Yeah, and look, it does have a place, but it's about how you do it. So I used to make my own version of Kilpatrick, but I would use spiced flat pan cheddar and I would dice that up and cook that separately. The problem with Kilpatrick and the way it's been done by a lot of places is they just put cut bacon on top with a few drops of Worcester and other bits and pieces. I actually made a separate cooked mix and then put that on top of the oysters and then grilled that. So my pancetta had already rendered out the fat, already had some flavour going in it with thyme and shallots and all that sort of stuff. So you can do it like well.
I definitely think this is a future topic for cooking with steam.
Oysters.
Oysters.
All about oysters.
All about oysters.
Well, do you know what? If I get some time, we will do that because now is the time to do it.
Now is the time.
Because they are at their best. And we could look at different types too. Because what we get, so Tasmanian oysters and South Australian oysters are generally Pacific oysters. So that's the type of oyster they are. But there are others. So Sydney Rock's different to Pacific. There's quite a few varieties that we get. And we can even look at the big bluff oysters, which they get down in New Zealand, which are the size of a small dinner plate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not my bag. It's like eating a shopping bag full of snot. That's really not my...
Oh, that's just... does not sound appealing.
No, and they're huge.
Oh,
they're
wow.
massive. I can't come at those. That's a bit out of the realms of okay for me. There's not many things I won't give a go, try.
No.
That's one of them. I have tried it, but I'll never...
Not your thing.
No. They have a huge festival down in the South Island, south of the South Island for bluff oysters. It's a huge thing, but they are a taste all of their own. But there's all sorts of different oysters. I think they're Aganassi oysters as well. They're quite big. Again, a bit meaty. But Pacific oysters for me are like... There'll always be those people, especially from Sydney, who love Sydney Rock oysters. I don't mind them, but they don't seem to have the same sort of like clean salinity as Pacific oysters do.
Okay, well that'll be interesting. I look forward to that.
There you go, oysters. I didn't even know what we were going to talk about today, but I just went off on a tangent because I noted that the oysters are that good at the moment. So.
Well, I was going to ask you about air fryers.
Yeah.
We talked about this a bit briefly because one of the things that has always perplexed me with how much I love cooking
gadgets
in a steam cooking in a steam oven or a combi steam oven, and none of my beautiful friends have bought one. None of you guys listening, I know you guys tune in, but you've never bought one. And but they all ring me up and say, hey, what do you think about an air fryer? Oh, we just bought an air fryer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's a gadget that's got to go on the bench, and I'm not sure that it does anything like really that fantastic. But I don't know anything about them, so I'm not dissing them.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure that what they do.
Okay.
But maybe.
So I've been talking to people recently about this. So the only thing that I can find that is probably more valid about an air fryer, and it depends, I'm generalising because they all kind of look similar as far as their build. They're not, different manufacturers got different air fryers, but they're all kind of similar. It's like an oven. Yeah, they're square boxes. They're all kind of similar. But the only thing that I can see that is potentially good is heat up time. That's it, because you're working in a very small cavity. But in essence, all an air fryer is an exposed heat element with a fan circulating that heat. Yeah? That's all it is. So most ovens will have a grill element, and they'll have a operation within that called grill with fan, or fan grill, or something like that. If you put your stuff on a perforated tray and find the right shelf level to work on, yes, it will take a little bit longer to heat up given that it's an oven and it's a bigger cavity, but I would suggest to you that you're going to get a pretty similar result given what you're putting in an air fryer generally.
Which is what I am yet to be convinced about with my friends who have them.
Yeah.
That when I ask, what do you use it for? And they tend to just use it to heat up things.
Yeah.
Which, well, why do you have that? Well, we have the science oven, microwaves, But I just thought, wow, that's
Yeah, I don't sort of.
A lot of
I don't
people
think there's
buying
anything unique about the technology, other than the fact that it's a small cavity and it gets hot pretty quick. So if you compare it to, let's say, a 60 centimetre by 60 centimetre oven, it's certainly going to heat quicker. And then even a 60 centimetre by 45 centimetre oven that's got probably similar functionality, that will heat a little bit quicker again, but then an air fryer is very small, generally. I know you see, TV ads and stuff, they put a whole chicken in them, but they don't give you the size of the chicken. But I'm yet to sort of see where the benefit lies yet in having it as a separate piece of cooking equipment. If you can get, and given, like we've talked about this before, but the fundamental thing that you need in cooking is accurate, precise, controlled temperature. Doesn't matter where it comes from, doesn't matter what it's in, but that's what you need. For good cooking, that's what you need. So if that does come in an air fryer, then that's great. Do you need one as well as your oven? Not up to me to say. But I don't know how accurate, consistent the temperatures of those things are. If anyone out there's listening wants to give us an air fryer, we'll take one and play with it. But like I don't know. I know some oven manufacturers are now starting to spruik that they've got air frying functions within their ovens, and that's fine, but it's a function that's been in ovens for a long time anyway. It's just got a name now. So I wonder how much of this stuff is just marketing. People are always looking for the next cooking gadget thing, really. So, yeah, I don't know. I haven't got one and I won't be buying one. That's my answer to air fryers. I got nothing.
Okay, well that's a lot though.
Yeah,
that's something.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think it's.
We'll do some deeper thinking about it, but off the top of my head, like I just don't see how the heat and the temperature, how the temperature could be controlled, how it could be so much different to what you could do in a closed cavity oven anyway, with a fan. You are circulating heat, and if it gets to temperature and keeps temperature consistently well, you're pretty much going to get a pretty good cook if you have an idea about what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you.
It's a different shaped box that gets hot. There we go. That's what an air fryer is.
Well, I must say I don't really know much about them either, but my friends all seem to be happy to buy one, and maybe it's a price point.
It's less commitment than
and it's maybe easier to
$6,000 combi steam oven.
Plug in. That's right, and I still think there's a lot of people who, when they hear about it, combi steam, or they look at steam cooking and they go into the shop and they think, well, let's maybe look at this. I'm not sure that all the salespeople that you might be running into might be on top of why they're so good and whether they will suit you or not. It's not for everybody. No. I know some people just, like if it was on Doug on his own, he would never have bought one because he sees an oven merely as a place to heat up something and eat.
Yeah.
So.
But each to their own.
Yeah.
Go and buy your air fryers if you want to.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But I just don't know the value of them, and I'm sure I still don't.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, thank you.
Okay.
And
have a good weekend.
You have a very good weekend and enjoy.
Nice chatting. And signing off.
And so have a good and enjoy your function tonight.
Yeah. I want to say yes, of course I will. I'm really looking forward to it. But to be honest, it's the end of the week. I've done 4 this week already. You are looking a little bit frayed around the edges. Thanks. Sorry nice talking to you too, Linda. Well, all right, people. Have a good weekend. There you are, all about happy oysters cooking. And air fryers. Yeah, we'll do oysters next week. Lovely. Okay. Beautiful. Happy cooking. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening to this podcast as we explore home cooking in the modern world. We'd love you to subscribe, and for more information, please go to our website, cookingwithsteam.com.